So, today we're going to dig into a really fascinating idea from a new white paper. It's called the Remnants Framework, and it's all about building a new kind of social machine, one that's engineered specifically for equity. Let's pop the hood and see how it works. But first, let's start with a really big question. We build these complex systems with the absolute best intentions. We want to create opportunity, fix old problems. But what happens when the gears don't quite line up? What happens when the very people a program was built to help are the ones left behind?
That question, it forces us to go looking for the gap in the system, to really pinpoint where the breakdown is happening.
And this is where the source material introduces a really powerful term, the remnants. Get this, they're not just applicants. They're described as human infrastructure. Think about that. These are people who were fully verified, they invested their own time and money, they played by the rules, only to get left in limbo when a program changes or a licensing round just ends. They're basically valuable, pre-vetted components that have been set aside and are now just gathering dust.
And this one little gap creates a whole cascade of problems. Suddenly, verified candidates, they lose their official standing. All that time, money, and effort, both from them and the regulators, is just wasted. Equity licenses can literally vanish from the system, which completely undermines public trust. And the paper makes a crucial point here. This isn't inequity because someone designed it to be unfair. It's inequity through a simple structural omission. It's not that the machine is evil, it's just incomplete. It's missing a key part.
So, how do you fix a machine that has a missing part? Well, you engineer a better one. And that brings us to the proposed solution, the Remnants Framework. The core idea here is to create what they call a closed-loop system. Think of it like a super efficient recycling program, but for bureaucracy. Instead of letting valuable resources, like these verified applicants and equity licenses, just fall out of the system and get lost, this framework is designed to capture them and plug them right back in. Absolutely no waste. No lost parts. So how does this new machine actually work? Well, it's built on 4 core components. First up, you've got a remnant registry, basically a live database to keep track of everyone who's been vetted. Then a license recycling protocol, which is exactly what it sounds like. It puts lost licenses back into play. Third, access and engagement, which means these folks get a formal seat at the table. And finally, program continuity grants, which is financial support to help them stay ready for their shot. Let's look a little closer at the real engine of this framework, the license recycling protocol. The logic here is just so clean and efficient. When a license is surrendered or revoked, it doesn't just poof, disappear. Instead, it goes into a mandatory review period. And then it's systematically reassigned to a qualified person from that remnant registry. It's a clear, predictable, and totally fair process. Okay, the design is definitely smart, but what are the real-world results? Let's take a look at the actual benefits of getting this closed-loop system up and running smoothly. You can really see here how every piece connects directly to a tangible benefit. By recycling the licenses, you get equity retention. That value stays right in the community it was meant for. Having a transparent chain of custody, that helps mitigate fraud. Keeping that registry of verified people boosts administrative efficiency for the regulators. And by showing the state actually values people's good faith effort, you start to rebuild public trust. See? Every single gear has a purpose. And when you put it all together, the whole framework is engineered to hit these 3 big goals. It's a system designed for way more efficiency, for restored trust, and at the end of the day, for a much more equitable outcome. It basically completes the circle, creating a whole functional system that actually works.
Now, all this sounds great as a blueprint, right? But how do you get from a plan on paper to a real working machine? Well, let's look at the final section, the implementation roadmap.
The source paper lays out a really clear, phased roadmap to get this done. It all starts with Phase 1, simply officially acknowledging that remnants exist and have standing. Phase 2 is the build-out, actually constructing the registry. And Phase 3 is all about integration, giving these folks a real voice within the system's advisory groups. It's a practical, step-by-step plan for assembly.
And really, the whole thing just comes down to this one powerful, memorable mission statement from the white paper. This is the guiding principle, the whole point of the entire framework. No participant left behind and no equity license lost to history. It's about making sure that every component and every single person counts. So that leaves us with a final thought to chew on.
This framework, yeah, it's a solution for a very specific problem, but its core idea, building closed-loop systems that value human investment and just eliminate waste, that is an incredibly powerful concept. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Could this no-resource wasted model, this way of intelligent, equitable design, be the key to fixing other broken systems too?